Back again.
Live from Wednesday afternoon.
It's back of the party for the second day in a row. It's like lightning
It's
striking
a streak.
twice.
We're on a streak. We haven't had this good of a streak since last summer.
hmm And last summer there was way more content to cover. We had Copa America, we had the Euros, so that was fun. But now we're just getting back to it.
Yeah, we're over here watching the Europa League final. The second half's about to start. Honestly, I had Betis winning against Chelsea. Believe it or not, I actually made a bet because I saw this interesting statistic that said out of the last 24 finals that a Spanish team has been involved in, the Spanish team has won every single final.
Okay.
And so I think I'll say this. I think Chelsea equalizes. I think it's 1-1. It goes to overtime, and I think Betis wins. Either they score a goal in overtime or they win on penalties.
Okay. And then quick correction, Europa Conference League. I know it's not really like that much of a difference, but I'm sure somebody will complain. Yes, we're watching the Conference League, and yeah, I am. Even though I'm wearing blue, I'm for Batiste. I do not want to see Chelsea win. I'm already tired of the Chelsea fans really just roasting us for not having a trophy, and then they're gonna just be completing the European trophy cabinet. Basically, I just really don't want to see that anymore. And over the course of the season, especially this last part of the season, Chelsea have really struggled playing from behind, and they're more of a game manager team due to like maybe several factors. We'll figure it out if it's manager or young players, but either way, they struggle coming behind or coming ahead. Yeah, coming from behind in games, and that's one of the disappointing things that I had for Forest when they played last week, because Forest could have easily beat Chelsea, I think, and jumped into the Champions League places, but failed to do so because they're just lack of quality. And I really want to see Chelsea lose. That's it.
Were you rooting for Forest last week?
I was because it was just fun. I mean, there was a lot of chaos. There's a little bit of movement between fourth through sixth in the last day, but I wanted to see Forest do it just because it disrupts the whole hierarchy, and then somebody, either Newcastle, Villa, or Chelsea, were going to be left out, and I thought that was going to be funny.
Yeah, I would have rather seen in the Champions League. Well, let me pitch this one first. How do you feel about the Tottenham win over Manchester United?
Oh, in the Europa League final?
Yeah, because that was Champions League on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And the craziest part is at that point they were what, like 17th and 16th? So basically like right above the lowest you can get before getting relegated. And somehow these two teams are fighting it out for Champions League qualification.
It was ridiculous. I mean, two things I think need to happen.
Hey, I
It's
can't hear you.
oh
Like you got muted or something.
oh yeah. So I tried to click off real quick, but I was trying to see the table real quick. I think Tottenham actually finished with only 39 points, which is absolutely disgusting. I remember back in 2016 when Claudio Ranieri was talking about how 40 points is the goal to maintain relevancy and also avoid relegation in the Premier League, and they didn't even make that total. And the fact that both those teams were in the Europa League final speaks to how bad the new Europa League system is set up now. And I've had time to process it. I think overall, fair play, Spurs. Like, you got your Champions League place, you got your trophy after 17 years. I'll give you your credit. You guys are talking really crazy, like you guys are gonna really start something next season. Which you're gonna concede 80 goals next season. Let's be real. no matter what. Postecoglou's open play is not suited for your team. You can keep talking right now, but you're in 17th. Enjoy your trophy. Just remember that final was shit. You were so close to equalizing in terms of Manchester United perspective, and history could have been completely different. So just enjoy it, but I'd rather not see so much brazen trash talk from the Spurs fans, the Chelsea fans, the United fans about how we went trophyless, because at the end of the day, we've competed at the highest level for a couple years now. Of course we came up short, but I mean, being in 17th, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that before. I don't think I've ever seen a 17th place team make Champions League the next year. The craziest thing before that, I seen Wigan get relegated and then play Europa League from the second division. That's the craziest thing I've seen. But 17th place to play Champions League, I've never seen some shit like that.
It's really it's really unprecedented because I mean, even back to Wigan, that was in the FA Cup and they beat City. That was like a cool, very realistic thing to happen because it can set up like that in the FA Cup every once in a while. But I think Man United and Spurs, they really benefited from the fact that since nobody from the Champions League that doesn't make the knockout stages drops down to the Europa League, they really benefited from it. And I think that needs to be changed because it makes the tournament not as fun. Once you get killers from the Champions League to drop down into the Europa League, it always added a bit of intrigue to me. But that's just that's UEFA just trying to get the most money out of the situation. So I don't think they'll ever change it.
See, okay, I actually disagree with you on that because I think every time that the Champions League, like group stage losers or like third place from group stage went down, I think it just disrupted the whole tournament because before, whenever Champions League wasn't on the line, it kind of made sense. But now because the prize is Champions League qualification, it'd be kind of unfair to all these smaller teams who maybe this is the only way to get Champions League qualification, right? Because their leagues are so stacked with like much richer teams. And so, like for example, we have a okay, like this season is perfect, right? I think at one point Manchester United and Tottenham realized we're not even going to make top 10, let alone Champions League, right? We're not even going to make top 10. So, what's our only way to survive or actually make something out of our season? And it was put all your eggs in the Europa League, right? And ultimately, the loser of that match would have come out with the worst season. Because if Manchester United would have won, the narrative about Ruben Amorim would have been completely different than it is right now. It would have been like, oh, maybe there's hope, maybe he was the right guy. Like, you know how the narratives go. But because he lost and Tottenham won, Postecoglou looks like the guy who, he talked all that shit and he backed it up because he was saying, I always win a trophy in my second season. He got Champions League. But he did absolutely horrible this season, like in terms of league play. Um, one thing that's been on my mind: how the fuck does Manchester United land Cunha from Wolves, who finished on the same points? Finished with the same points as Manchester United. How did they get Cunha? I don't understand. Who would want to go to like what player, knowing everything you know about United, that Ronaldo exposed like the poor facilities, the fact that they've had a manager, what, three managers now? Because they fired Eric Ten Hag and I forgot who took over. I think it was Ruud, right? Ruud Van Nistelrooy took over, and then Ruben Amorim comes, who's a great manager, but it's not the fact that the manager has nothing to do with it. I think Eric Ten Hag, while I don't like him because I think he's like egomaniac, I think he's going to do a good job at Bayer Leverkusen. I think he's gonna, keep them in top four. I really do because I don't think he was the issue. I think the bigger issue is Manchester United as an overall unit. And so I just don't understand how someone could want to go to Manchester United over like a Tottenham at this point. What do you think? What is it about Manchester United that keeps alluring all these kind of good quality players?
At this point, I think it's just for the check. No matter what happens over the course of these next couple seasons, Manchester United have shown in the past, no matter what, they've been the highest earning clubs or club in international football. And at this point, I think a lot of people are just going for the check. And who knows what's going to come for these next few seasons, if they're going to keep Amaron or not. It's still something that they have to improve on with the league and trying to figure out the structure and the hierarchy. But I read an article today about Thierry Henry criticizing Arteta about the fact that we haven't made a final since 2020, and he brought up a good point that Man United have made 5 finals in the last 5 years, and we have yet to get to a final again since 2020. So they seem to always eke it out and find a way to get into position where they always can rewrite the narrative or kind of have a positive with all these negatives. But overall, I think with Cunha, it's just Wolves didn't have the bread to give him the money he wants, and he should just go to United at this point since they have the resources.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that you make about Thierry Henry, because he's right. Like Manchester United make FA Cup finals. They've made the Europa League final like what 3 times in the last 9 years. They did it with Mourinho, and then they did it with Solskjaer, and now they did it again with Amorim. And so, yeah, like there's something because the thing is their squad is filled with quality. They have good players. I mean, they should. They spend like crazy amounts on them. They spend like probably $1 billion over the last like 5 seasons, 5, 6 seasons on players because they overpay for players because they have to because their club is not in a good position. But you look at now, like look, we're watching Anthony play like he's an amazing player, like he's like a top 10 player in the world, right? This season since he moved to Betis, but yet he can't do that at United. And we see like Scott McTominay, he goes to Napoli and he looks like prime Ronaldo at some points doing a little bicycle kick. I don't know if you saw that on the last day. He did like a little bicycle to seal the title. And I just wonder, it's not a United. Well, it is a United problem. It's not an individual player problem. It's not a manager problem.
I think it has to just be the hierarchy. It's so toxic, and the recruitment's really bad when it comes to trying to fit players into the system that the manager wants. It just mainly kind of we sign whoever's really interested, we overpay, and then we try to go for some big names, but eventually miss out on them because nobody with the right mind in terms of trying to create a legacy for their professional career is going to Manchester United anymore. And they're always going to kind of be in these positions now because they're in these lower tier parts of competitions where they're just have so much quality. They're always going to kind of shine above these teams because they just have more investment, more resources, more quality. But it's just always going to, if they don't get this problem fixed when it comes to getting the right players in for the manager, I think they're going to suffer even more because I even think that Cunha is a terrible investment for them. I watched an analysis about him because I saw Arsenal were interested in January, so I always wanted to kind of take a quick look at him. I think he's a really interesting player, and I think he's fun, and he has a lot of good upside when it comes to trying to produce in the final third. But if you watch him, he actually is, apart from being a good final third striker, he suffers everywhere else overall because he likes to play with the ball to his feet. He's not a willing runner. And I think Manchester United needs somebody to run the channels and be productive in that sense with the progressive runs to try and get the back line off of their center. Because if you have someone like that who just wants to always play the ball to his feet and always try to create something out of nothing when he's not Messi or he's not like this great passer, great creator, they're going to suffer. You kind of see it with Wolves. And in certain points, it breaks up and disrupts the flow of trying to progress out of the back. And then you even look at some of the Brazilian games, he continues to do it when he has more talented players around him. He always wants the game to come to him rather than trying to make a chance for himself and trying to put himself in a position to make the game come to him because he's forcing it or he's trying to make an effort towards it. He always just wants everything to come to him, which is, I think, at this point, showing that he's not. I mean, he's a good player, but he's not a great player. So that profile player, I think, is still wrong for them.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Oh, I thought they were going to score right there. That's a really good point. What also surprises me on top of that is that they can even afford to spend 70 million casually on a player like Cunha because they're not playing Europe next season. They just finished what 15th. That's still terrible by their standards, and they already have a surplus of wingers. You know, they have Ahmad, they have Anthony who's coming back, they have Garnacho, they have Rashford who's coming back. They're rich in that area. Where I would get another player is probably the midfield because that midfield is kind of like old and not really dynamic. I mean, Casemiro, like he kind of came back to life, but Casemiro is not going to be the guy who really. Casemiro was always just carried because he had one responsibility in Real Madrid, and that was just to disrupt play and defend. And every now and again, he had the liberty to go up because we had a really good defense at that time. But you got to pair him next to like a controller, which is kind of like Tony Cruz, like someone who controls pitch. You can't pair him in a double pivot with Bruno Fernandes because that doesn't make any sense. Bruno Fernandes is always going to want to go forward and attack. So, like to me, their whole setup makes very little sense. And then you have Christian Eriksen who's going to retire. So, like I don't know. I see it as more like an irresponsible spending. But I mean, that's just irresponsible clubs are going to do irresponsible things, and they're going to show their hand by doing these little trades like this. Um, I just hope that the players who go there, because I actually like some players there that they can actually do something with their career, maybe move on somewhere. We even saw when Rashford left, he did a lot better in Villa because he's a good player. He's just in a bad system. Um, and speaking of players who are part of that bad system, you see that Ronaldo doesn't have a club now.
Yeah, and he posted this very cryptic message, kind of saying this is the end of a chapter. And I saw that uh, I always forget his name, but the head of UEFA or FIFA went on Speed Stream and flirted with the rumor that he potentially will go to Monterrey to be able to compete in the Club World Cup. I don't know if you saw that.
We'll go to the same club that Sergio Ramos was at.
I didn't know Sergio Ramos was at Monterrey, but no.
Oh yeah, I don't think they can afford him. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think it's just he's trying to get buzz and trying to get people to pay attention to the Club World Cup. So I'm not necessarily knowing if that's true or not, but I do think I don't think he's re-signing with Al Nassr.
No, dude, and it's kind of sad because even the fans were telling him not to sign. They were going like this, and they were like, "Don't sign, don't re up." And I'm just like, "Oh man." I mean, that sucks because I feel for him because he's one of the best players I've ever seen, and the fact that he hasn't been able to win a league title with the amount of money that they were spending. Meanwhile, like Al Hilal and Al Ittihad have been winning. The fact that he got knocked out by Kawasaki when he could have had that last dance and got into the Champions League, at least for Asia, right? He could have been the first man to win. I mean, at least I think, to win the UEFA and then the AFC. That would have been cool. That's like, like I guess like a late career flex in a way.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's just kind of sad to see him leave on those terms because the last two clubs he's left now have he's left on bad terms. He's left kind of with that bittersweet taste.
It's really sad to see. I want the best for him. I want to see him produce at least one more thing. I know he wants to kind of stay in the game till the World Cup, and I think he still brings an impact, whether it's his name or his brand, but also his professionalism, trying to develop players around him, young and also older. I mean, you learn from around the best. If you're around the best, you're going to take kind of things, if at least you're smart enough to at least learn from that. So whether it's going back to sporting or possibly the MLS, which I would think is really interesting, I don't think he would do it, but I would just love to see him come out on top one more time for his career.
I think Sporting's a good shout because it does seem like Gyökeres is going to leave. Well, he's definitely going to leave. People, or I guess the club has said that he's available for 65 mil. That's his release clause. Um, so that actually would be a good fit. That's actually a good shout. One thing I was thinking, and just is like this is like fan lore, right? A good fan lore destination for him would be the MLS, so he can do one last dance with Messi in a way. I don't know a good place. I think the only place I could see him go is L.A. You got the East Coast, West Coast, L.A. versus Miami type of deal. But then you would have to stack. First of all, you would have to pay. It's like MLS already did a deal with Apple and like a bunch of other companies just to get Messi paid. And so they're already stretched pretty thin, and they're really trying to focus on Messi as like the main player, right? So to bring in Ronaldo, you need at least another like 200 or 300 million, and which I mean, money, like if you have a rich enough investor who wants to see that, that's arbitrary because these guys have enough money. It would just mainly be for the fans. But I was saying, on top of bringing him to LA, you would have to just stack that LA team to make it fun to watch. You would have to bring players like old Real Madrid players or old players he's played with, to kind of make it like a Messi versus Ronaldo team. And honestly, I think that'd be the funnest way to go about it. I don't know if anyone is willing to do it. I don't know if he's even willing to come to the USA. Um, but that would be something that I would like to see, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be interested in seeing that.
Of course, everybody would be going up in a crazy frenzy to see Ronaldo in America. I would love to see it. I mean, it would be tough because looking at the two LA teams, LAFC, I don't think will be able to squeeze it. They already have Denny Bouanga, who's the arguably the best player in the MLS right now. You have Giroud up top that they just signed last season, so that's kind of not necessary for them. LA Galaxy though, that would be a potential landing spot if somebody thought maybe we just can try for it. Because I mean I like whatever's below casual watching is where I'm at when it comes to the MLS. I just vaguely like check in every once in a while, so I know LA Galaxy is obviously the most successful MLS team in the league history wise. They have the likes of Ricky Puig. Obviously, he tore his ACL in the playoffs. They do have Marco Royce at this point, but they would have to kind of sweeten the deal, like you said. And it just seems more of like an uphill battle. And there's the equalizer, Enzo Fernandez.
Oh, Enzo out of everyone.
Yeah, showing up, playing that more advanced role. He's
Hey,
gotten a lot more great play through that, and I think that's Maresca's one of his biggest pluses of putting him in like a more advanced position.
Yeah, dude. That's good, man. I told you Chelsea was going to equalize. I still think this game is going to go to overtime. Oh,
Yeah.
he's doing the calma calma, dude. Calma
Mm.
calma.
He's right. There's 25 minutes left, so there's a lot of game to play.
Yeah. I like when players do that. Like they slap each other affectionately to try to get each other hyped.
Yeah, what is
They do it
that?
so casually too.
What's the masculine urge that we all have in us? Like I always like to push other guys when I was playing to get them fired up.
Yeah.
What is that? I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
push them or you jump on them or you like bash heads together. Not too hard though, obviously. I like it when like usually like uh I see this more in soccer than anything, but I have seen it in football when like you hop on the guy's back and you ride him. That's cute too. That's how you know they're good friends.
Yeah, it's just that rare surge of like adrenaline and testosterone, and then we just do whatever, we're like fucking apes. We're just like, wah, wah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I really hope this game goes to extra time because I don't, or I just hope Betis scores because I don't want to see uh, Betis lose, man. I like this team a lot. I think they've been playing really well. They beat Real Madrid later on in the season that kind of cost us the title, but that's how you know they're a good team. And I like the coach, uh, Manuel Pellegrini, former Real Madrid coach, former City coach. He's a good coach. He's just been stuck at Betis.
I'm for Batiste as well. A lot of players of old, and there's a couple of players I like. The number 10, I thought was playing a really good first half. I just saw he got subbed out. I didn't know if it was for injury or anything, but I really like the way they're playing, and I've always liked Manuel Pellegrini. He's he's really been one of the managers, at least in this modern era, to kind of leave an impression on me. But just to kind of transition back to what I was saying in my point, do you think? I know Ronaldo can pick his place and he can get a blank check anywhere, but ultimately, do you think it's just now in terms of cementing his legacy and going back to Europe to potentially stretch out that record of goals in the Champions League for him, and obviously trying to get to that career 1,000 at this point?
I think that's his main goal. I think he's kind of like he tries to play it off like he's not, but I watch Ronaldo enough. Oh, that was a good shot. I watch Ronaldo enough and at Real Madrid to know when he's trying to downplay things, and obviously it's like something that like suits him. Like he's very he's very like egocentric, right? And not even in like a bad way. Just like that's just his personality. That's what's caused him to be so successful. And I think that record is important because no one's ever done that. That'd be very special. I think if he does achieve it, he'd have to go hands down as the best goal scorer of all time. Like I think he already is. I think he's better than Messi, better than Pele in terms of goal scoring. Not necessarily in terms of quality or overall play, overall like IQ and soccer. I think Messi, has a beat on that. Same thing with accolades. But in terms of pure goal scoring ability and longevity, Ronaldo's on the top of that list. And I think he might be like at what? It's to be in the 940s, right? Something along that.
Yeah, he hit what, career 800 club goals either last game or 2 games ago. I'm not sure the
Yes,
full
sir.
tally.
So right now he has 936 goals, so he's very close. He's 70 away, which is kind of hard to hit in a season, like one season left. Not impossible, but like especially at that age and with his clubs being uncertain, it's kind of hard to do it at this point. Oh, and there's a goal.
Yeah, Chelsea complete the comeback.
He looked a little bit offsides, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Nico Jackson, the goal scorer, and they're obviously going crazy. Oh well. Well, hopefully maybe Batiste can do something, but I think it's just like a momentum shift at this point.
Yeah, I mean, momentum can shift again
Of course, they just need to get back
for
to
Nico Jackson.
yeah, they just need to get back to playing there in the first half. They need to like try and see if they can nick the ball off Chelsea and start creating play from turnovers at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Whoa, so that reminds me of two things. One, Nico Jackson just got hit in the head like not too long ago, so that's kind of impressive that he can come back and just look fine. But another thing is, I was looking at some of the clubs that are participating in the Club World Cup, and I don't see Sporting on here. Um, so I think that's maybe out of the question. Because he does, at least that's what's being pushed, right? That he does want to participate. No, he wasn't offsides. That was a legit goal. He didn't even fucking notice it. You saw that? He
Mm-hmm.
he just flinched last minute and it kind of bounced off his chest, off his shoulder.
It
Kind of
was
like a Balotelli style goal.
he kind of looks like Balotelli right now with that mohawk, but it was a goal
Yeah.
created and engineered by Palmer. Great turn and just sets it on kind of too much of a plate for him not to finish it. What is
Yeah,
that
no,
haircut?
Palmer. Dude, I don't know. He looks like he got dipped in like a snow cone machine.
I don't even know who player that is.
Maybe, maybe maybe it's who is it? Okambu and Aitor Ribal. Dude, he must be good if he has that type of hair, right? You can't pull up with that type of hair and not be good. You can't pull up and then like score an own goal. He has to be the dude who's gonna score the equalizer. It's prophecy, bro. You can't.
If not, he looks like such a clown.
X.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so these are the teams that he could potentially go to if he stays in Europe, right? You have FC Porto. Maybe he'd go back to Portugal, but that's kind of be like betraying like Sporting, right? So can't do that. There's been some rumors and whispers of him going to Brazil. I just don't see that happening at all. Like at all. Like he has no ties to Brazil. Why would he even go there? I don't think. I mean, he's probably been to Brazil, but why would he play there? Like I don't understand why he would retire there. Um, PSG don't want him. And Atletico don't want him because he's ruined Atletico's lives. Bayern don't want him since he's they have Harry Kane. Benfica, that's another one he'd go to, but like once again, it's a sporting rival. Um, so I just don't see it happening. They do have Champions League though, so it would make sense. This would all make more sense if Sporting was just in the Club World Cup. Chelsea, I don't see it going. Inter Milan, you think he'd go to Inter? I don't think so because he's played for Juventus, so I can't see it happening. Monterrey is in that same group, and I just don't see him going to Mexico, dude. I don't know who said that, but I don't. You said Infantino said that, Gianni Infantino.
Yeah, on
I
speed
can't see
stream
that shit
too.
happen. Nah, he's yapping, bro. He's not gonna do that. Dortmund didn't even make Champions League, did they?
They did actually.
No, actually, yeah, they did. I mean, maybe, but like, I don't see the appeal. He's never played in Germany, but why would he go to Dortmund? That'd be kind of like he's betting on being an underdog right there. Maybe. I don't think they had the money to afford him though, and I don't see him going back to Juventus. Can't see him going to Man City when they have Holland. The only one that actually makes sense is I have been seeing that he could potentially go to Al Hilal.
Hmm. Okay.
So Al Hilal or Sporting. And you know what? This is just like a fan fiction, but I would love to see him go on like a 1 month or 2 month contract back to Madrid. That'd be amazing. I think Xabi Alonso might be down for that. I don't know if you can convince Florentino to do that though.
I don't know if you can even do that. Like 1 2 months. I mean, it probably can be done for one of the greatest players ever. But I like see like Flo. Is he going to be up for it? I don't know.
Always not gonna be down for it. And not only that, but like it just wouldn't make sense. You have Mbappe, right?
Hmm.
Like this doesn't make sense.
Don't Al Halal have Benzema as well?
No, that's all Etihad.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I guess we'll see. I'm waiting for Fabrizio Romano to say, here we go. He's going so and so. He hasn't said anything yet.
It's going to be a while, but we can talk about a little bit about, since we're on the topic of Real Madrid, some of the business already done with, of course, Xabi Alonso being the new coach. But you guys signed a center back very early, and I haven't got your thoughts
Oh,
about it, even on camera, off camera.
Dean Huyson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that guy. I started watching some highlights on him. I didn't even know too much about him to be honest before we signed him. But now that I've done some investigation, he played for Bournemouth, right?
Yep.
Bournemouth. Oh yeah. He's pretty good, man. I've watched some of his highlights. He's. I'm surprised he's only 20, or he's like 19 or 20, and he's really good for that age. And the fact that he can only get better and going to play for Real Madrid with much more experienced center backs, and he can be next to a crazy man like Rudiger, and Rudiger can really show him how to like embrace his inner insanity. I think he can only get better. I'm getting like Varane, like vibes from him because oh, dude, that breakaway is so good. I'm pretty sure they score right here. Oh, what a terrible touch! Did you see that touch?
Yeah, I'm like probably like 10 seconds ahead of you, and that's why I laughed because if you're not watching, Nico Jackson was through on goal, had everything but the keeper in front of him, and he takes this wild heavy touch and it just comes straight to the keeper. It was absolutely funny.
Why did he take such a heavy touch? Like, I mean, I'm glad he did, but like, just from like a player's perspective, he had so much time, and it's not even like he had to take that touch because he could have always just laid it off to Enzo.
I don't
Oh, that
know.
was so bad. That was so bad. If Betis equalizes, that's gonna be they're gonna focus on that.
So funny. Bro thinks he's like prime Henri or something. He's got like 99 pace.
No,
But
yeah.
uh,
I'm actually gonna cash out on my bet right now because during halftime I made a bet that Chelsea would come back from uh, the equalize, and they did. And now that they're winning, I get even more. So I'm just gonna cash out now because I'm pretty sure I have a feeling like Betis is gonna equalize. But
hopefully,
yeah, Dean Hoyson, man, he's a. What were you gonna say?
I said hopefully, and we can make this game interesting. But just to piggyback off what you said, I watched Hoyson for just a little bit. Of course, across the season, I didn't watch every Bournemouth game, but since I'm a Premier League snob, I like to watch a lot of Premier League teams, and Bournemouth were one of the most entertaining teams to watch this season. And I think you're absolutely right. I just give you like another stamp of approval. It's such a great signing. He's so good, so tall, so technically well for his age, and I honestly thought he was English. I had no idea he was Spanish and Dutch, and I just totally thought you guys signed. It was like out of the blue to sign an English player because he just looks so white. And his name's Dean, but either way, he fits the profile for Madrid, being Spanish and being very talented for his age. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It paired up with Rudiger, it could be like a Ramos Varane situation where he kind of has that place to develop like that.
Yeah, and even pairing him up, I think the rumor is that we're going to play a three at the back, and I could see him being the center of that. Either him or Rudiger, and I think to just either pair him next to Rudiger or to Asensio, I think it's just going to be great. And then when Militao gets back, we'll really be back to full force. Like I said, I think David Alaba should leave. Um, Even if he does stay, I don't think he's going to get that many minutes, especially because he was more so an Ancelotti favorite, which makes sense because Ancelotti coached him at Bayern too, and he brought him to Madrid afterwards. Um, I don't know if Xabi Alonso is going to favor him like that. I know Xabi Alonso did play with him at Bayern as well, but he's coming in with like a fresh pair of eyes, which is something that we've been needing. We're going to have Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right, which it only makes sense in a way if you play with three or five at the back, like he's planning on doing, because then you can give him more freedom to really, and he might be like a really big influence on that team if you just give him that free role to kind of roam on the right wing, not really focus so much on defending. He could really be a game changer, especially like think about it. I mean, he's coming from the Premier League to La Liga, right? I mean, that's a step down in physicality, which means he's not going to have to worry about that all as much. It's slower pace too, in general. And on top of that, we're signing. I saw it on Fabrizio's page that we're signing Carrera. I think his name is Andres Carrera, and he's coming from Benfica as a left back. I don't know too much about him, but I do know that we've been needing a new left back because Fran Garcia just ain't it, and Mendy's always injured. So finally, after all these seasons that I've been saying we've been needing extra support in defense, we get three defenders right from the start. That's all. That's all we've been needing. We will eventually need another center mid to replace Luca, as he's leaving. But I think for now we're in a good position. I think Xabi Alonso is the right man to take over right now, and I think I hope that we can give Luka Modric a nice send off. Oh, what a goal! What a goal! That's game. I was wrong. Betis isn't coming back. That's game.
Yeah, I missed it because I was hearing you speak, so I'll have to watch it here. Have you
I
not
think
heard
I think it was
of
Sancho.
Sancho? Oh, really? I
Another guy who's doing well after leaving Man United.
hmm Did you not see the send off for Ancelotti and Modric?
Yeah, I watched it. It
Okay,
was on Sunday,
okay,
Saturday. I watched it.
okay.
Yeah, it was touching. But Modric is still playing though.
Oh, he is.
He's he's still playing the Club World Cup.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That makes sense. I didn't necessarily
Yeah,
know what you were saying there,
it was
but
a Bernabeu send off.
okay.
Here's the highlights. Here's the goal. It was a defensive mistake.
I see it now. I mean, fair play to Sancho. I mean, hasn't done anything this whole season. Decides to turn up on a final and score a goal in garbage time.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. I like him. I think he's a good player. I really liked him last year whenever he was at Dortmund. I think that's when he was at his best. He didn't do shit in the final, but he still played really well in the semifinals.
I don't think the Premier League suited to his game. I think if he goes out to Germany or to Italy or Spain, I think he's going to do a lot better. I don't think the Prem's for him.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, an Italian team should get him. I can see him doing really well in Italy. But yeah, so well, we had the send off for Modric and for Ancelotti. Ancelotti's already in Brazil. He's already coaching Brazil. Just like Xabi is already in Madrid. He's coaching Madrid. Um, but yeah, so Lucas Vasquez, who's also leaving the club, and Modric have said they're going to play the whole Club World Cup, and then they're going to leave. So Modric said that his Club World Cup will be his last dance. and it would be fitting if he wins because then he would have won every trophy as he could have as a Madrid player. Oh, is this a handball? Is this a handball shout, dude?
Let me look at the replay real quick. Ah,
Good, good pass by Isco.
it was a good pass. I think if you call it a
I,
handball there, that's bad.
I wouldn't say it's a handball, but it does look like a foul. Let me see it from this different angle. I would say that's a foul though.
Yeah, the refs
Why?
kind
I
of
mean,
been
I
bad.
mean, I mean, why not just give it the foul, dude? Make it interesting last couple minutes.
Guess not.
Selfish by Anthony. Selfish. Who's this keeper, dude? I've never seen this guy.
He's I haven't really seen him either. I think he's just second team, and then just plays in the cups. I'm not even
Why does
very.
Chelsea have like three first team keepers?
They're just stockpile, and then they got obviously Strasbourg, of course, is their feeder club that they just send everybody out on loan to. They just have like 60 players for no reason.
Oh, really? Is that why Strasbourg is doing so good?
Yes, Strasbourg is a feeder team and is part of the same conglomerate of whatever Todd Bowley has with his ownership group, and yeah, the likes of like Andre Santos is there, and I think Petrovic, one of their other goalkeepers, is out there. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's their feeder team is Strasbourg.
Dude, I had no idea. That makes me like Strasbourg a lot less. Because during the season, I was kind of becoming a Strasbourg fan because they were always winning me money. I was like, oh, maybe it's just like the come up of a French team. Kind of like how every now and again, you get like really good players like Hazard or Giroud come out from like those smaller teams. But now that makes me like them less.
Yeah, it sucks. The whole feeder team thing needs to be taken care of. But since we're in the like final stages of the game, do you want to do a little something different that I'm gonna throw at you?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go a little quick fire and just give you some names that are floating around right now and that are possibly done deals, and then we can talk about them a little bit more if we need to. But we can go with Real Madrid. Did you see the Tony Cruz recommended a certain player? I think he plays for Stuttgart. I think he plays for Stuttgart in Germany. Have you got a chance to look at the new Tony Cruz?
No, I haven't even looked. But if Tony Cruz is saying that, it's something to take a look at because that man is smart.
Yeah. I forget his name, but everybody online is trolling him because he has like the biggest, weirdest nose I have ever seen from a professional football player. And I get it. It looks weird. You can look it up right now, but people are just trolling him because he's got a big
Oh,
nose.
yeah, I actually did see that, bro. It's funny that you mentioned that because like that's going on in the background of my head. I actually saw that this morning because I was checking to see if there was any transfer news. It was Angelo Stiller,
Yeah, okay.
and, and yes, he's not the best looking guy. Yeah, that he's that I've seen play for Madrid. But I mean that's not a fucking issue, dude. Uh,
No, if he
I,
balls out, he balls out.
yeah, if he balls out, he balls out. Wait, Arsenal agreed to pay out Real Sociedad star release clause. Oh, that's for Zubimendi, right?
Yeah, that's good. That was a done deal for quite a while. I'm pretty happy because we were in form last season. Uh, we just it's okay. It's just an okay signing. We have already have like an exceptional midfield, and this just makes it even better. But we need attacking talent, so I'm more so worried about if we're gonna get Rodrigo, if we're gonna get Gyökeres, Benjamin Sesko. I need some top players up top.
Dude, if you don't spend the 65 million for Gyökeres, like you guys are just wasting time. You guys aren't serious about the Premier League.
No, it goes back to the Cronkies. And Josh, if you're listening to this, I don't think you will in anytime soon. But don't worry. I'm gonna build a platform big enough so I can roast your ass and your big ass weird ass beard. Fuck you, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. You are an absolute scumbag like your dad. And you think you like international football. You think you know what you're doing. You don't. You were the one who decided to break our transfer record at the time to sign Nico Pepe, and that guy was trash. If you do not get us somebody that is going to deliver us goals, I'm going to rage this season.
Did he also buy Rice?
To be fair, he bought Rice, but that was
Oh, that's
after.
four. That's over. It's over.
Yeah, it is over. But we brought in. I always forget his name. Why do I always forget his name? We had a lot better situation when it comes to dealing with our transfer situation. The head of operations he was Brazilian. He played for us. I'm gonna get roasted for that.
Is it Edu?
Edu, okay. Edu co-signed that deal, and I give more credit to Edu than I do Josh Kroenke, to be honest. We do have Bartomeu now was Atletico Madrid's head of operations. We'll have to see how he does, but we need goals. We need goals. Get us the goals because Turkish on AFTV, universe was completely right. We didn't invest enough, and the fact that now that Liverpool are looking like the front runners for Verts, and they're looking like they're going to sign Frimpong too, and then whatever the guy is, Kirkez from Bournemouth. That's just insane that they're getting such
Well,
good
Liverpool
players.
already signed Frimpong.
Oh, they
That's a
did.
done deal.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, you get done deal with quality players out of the way, and then now they can get ready for the next season. We have to compete with that, and if we don't compete with that, we're gonna get left in the dust again.
Dude, Frimpong would have been a great signing for you guys. He would have been a great right back for your system.
Yeah, I just take
Think about
anybody.
the pairing with Saka. That would have been insane.
It would have been insane, and I have I'm concerned right now. I'm going into the summer very skeptical in what we're going to do because it seems like now we're cruising because we're in Champions League places like we've done years before with Arsene Wenger getting the top 4 trophy and then just collecting that Champions League money and not doing a single damn thing with it. And the fact they have zero excuses now. This ESR bullshit is not relevant. The fact that Manchester United can pay 60 million for Cunha that we talked about, and we're in Champions League places, we should be able to drop 100+ mil this summer. I don't care about we had to pay off Declan Rice's transfer bill or we have this and that. No, it's complete absolute bullshit. They're lining their pockets and then they're making this team complacent, and I'm fed up with it.
Okay, so I have some good news for you. So Arsenal have made a bid of over 70 million euros for Sporting CP striker Victor Gyökeres. He's been offered a 5-year contract with a signing bonus of 12 million and an annual salary of 7 million. That's a good deal. That's the release clause activated. So now it's just up to Gyökeres to negotiate. I mean, that's a good salary, right? I mean, how much you pay Rice? That's probably your highest earner, right?
It's between Rice and Saka, and I think it would be a potential highest earner now. I saw that news, and I'm excited for that. Uh, I want that to happen so badly. We need somebody of that caliber, and it helps me a little bit more because I saw a report that we were penny pitching with Rodrigo because apparently there was a breakdown in talks because Rodrigo wants 10 million a year after taxes, and we're obviously a little bit put off by that for whatever reason.
You guys probably just don't think he's worth it.
Which is bullshit. I mean, you've watched Rodrigo for several seasons now, and I will say this: if we sign him, it is like Alexis Sanchez 2.0. I could be very wrong for this, but the way he plays, the caliber of team he's coming from, I think he's being overlooked. I think he has more quality than they think they are obviously trying to get for.
The thing is, you don't need to sign Gyökeres and Rodrigo. You would only need one or the other. I would go with Gyökeres,
Hmm.
honestly. I mean, you could always sign Rodrigo next season, or you could buy a less pricey winger because Rodrigo's going to come with some high demands. Maybe promote some wingers or give who's that guy who played really well this season for you guys? That's a winger
Uh, are you talking about
in one area in one
Wanyeri? Okay.
area
Yeah,
in one
Wanyeri
area.
could
Yeah,
do it.
maybe give him some more time. Switch him over to the other wing.
It could. It
It's a
could.
cheaper option.
It's something that could happen. I If it ends up working like that, that's fine. I just think we need a fix because Trussard's getting old. Martinelli, there's an argument that Arteta plays him out of position. Like he plays kind of like a touchline winger. He plays so wide and then tries to create crosses, and he should be like more of an inside forward. I personally don't think Martinelli has it anymore. Even when he decides to cut onto his right foot, he's not lethal. I'm not scared or enthusiastic when he like cuts onto his right to shoot. I think we need an upgrade so it helps take away the pressure from Saka to be our main creator. If we get Gyökeres, it's going to be an upgrade, but I think to make a well balanced attack, we need somebody on that left side.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I think Gyökeres is going to be your better option. What was the other quick fire ones that you had for me?
Uh, that's all I really kind of had. I would had just mainly the ones that I've seen that are going to be finalized so far, and I really don't have anything other than the lights now hitting my shiny bald head, and so
Yeah, it was a good game. Disappointing that Betis didn't win, but it's all right. It was kind of expected that Chelsea were going to win. They got way more money.
yeah, it was inevitable.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, thank you guys for watching along with our stream.
we'll cap off everything here, and thanks for tuning in. Of course, double upload in 2 days. Try to get more stuff out to you,
Yeah.
but of course, we have our own lives outside of this. We're not career YouTubers
Yeah,
just yet.
we'll be back for the Club World Cup in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but other than that, good talking to you, man, and I will see you later.